Have you ever found yourself stuck in a loop of overthinking, second guessing, or endlessly researching before you're able to make a decision? Maybe you've noticed yourself double checking emails or seeking reassurance from other people. Now, all of these behaviors might seem like they're unrelated to one another, but they're all examples of intolerance of uncertainty. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the ways in which intolerance of uncertainty can lead to excessive information gathering and can contribute to increased worry. Now, in previous videos, we've talked about a model or an engine of worry, and we've talked about how intolerance of uncertainty is the fuel that drives this worry engine. And in our last video in this worry series, we talked about various manifestations of intolerance of uncertainty that all focus on trying to avoid uncertainty in a person's life. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about another set of manifestations of intolerance of uncertainty behaviors that focus on trying to eliminate uncertainty in a person's life by gathering information to make uncertain situations more certain or as certain as possible. And one common way intolerance of uncertainty manifests itself is through excessive information gathering. So imagine I'm thinking about buying a new digital camera. Instead of just going out and picking the one that seems good, I spend hours and hours researching, reading every review, comparing every model, watching endless YouTube videos about the features and specs of this camera and that camera. It's like I'm searching for that one holy grail piece of information that will finally give me certainty as to what the perfect camera is. That will the information that will give me proof that I'm making the right choice. But the problem is this endless research doesn't just take up a lot of time, it also makes decision making feel overwhelming. And I end up feeling stuck in analysis paralysis because I'm unable to move forward because I'm always looking for the perfect answer. Another way this manifestation of intolerance of uncertainty shows up is in second guessing decisions after you've made them. So let's say I finally buy a camera. I finally figure out which camera it is and I settle on it. Instead of enjoying that camera, I spend the next 6 months reading more reviews about newer models, wondering if I had just waited, I could have got a better camera. It's like I'm constantly looking for reassurance that I made the right choice. And this habit of doubting yourself after the fact often leaves people feeling unsatisfied and anxious, even when there's no real reason to doubt a decision. Reassurance seeking is another big manifestation of intolerance of uncertainty. And this is similar to information gathering, but instead of doing your own research, you're asking other people for their opinions. So, for example, you might ask a friend, do you think I should send this email? Or was it okay for me to say that thing? Now, on the surface, it might seem like these types of comments or reassurance seeking is harmless. But constantly seeking reassurance actually undermines your confidence. If you were truly confident in your capabilities and your choices, you wouldn't need someone to constantly validate your decisions. Over time, this reassurance seeking can make you feel less capable and more dependent on other people, and this only fuels and feeds anxiety and worry. Another manifestation of intolerance of uncertainty is double checking or redoing things because you're no longer certain that you did them right in the first place. So imagine you're about to send an email. Instead of just hitting send and sending the email, you read it over and over, checking for spelling errors, unclear phrasing, or anything that could potentially be misinterpreted. You might even just save it as a draft and come back to it later to review it again at a later time, just to be sure. Now, while this might on the surface look like I'm just being thorough, it's really about trying to eliminate any possibility of uncertainty. And the problem is, this kind of perfectionism kills efficiency, and it can leave a person feeling stuck in a constant loop of doubt. So while these behaviors might seem different on the surface, they all serving the same purpose, trying to eliminate or reduce uncertainty in your life. Just like the various manifestations of intolerance of uncertainty that I discussed in the previous video. Those manifestations of intolerance of uncertainty were focused on avoiding uncertain situations, whereas the ones we're talking about today are about going into uncertain situations and trying to gather as much information as possible to make them less uncertain. But regardless, whether it's avoiding a phone call, spending hours researching, procrastinating, double checking an email, the goal is always the same: to feel more certain. But the irony is these behaviors, these manifestations of intolerance of uncertainty, don't eliminate uncertainty. Instead, what they do is they keep you trapped in a cycle of worry and anxiety. So what can you do with this information? Well, the first thing is to start noticing these manifestations of intolerance of uncertainty and how they might have weaved their way into your life. Take a week or two to observe and pay attention to your behavior. Are you spending too much time researching decisions? Do you find yourself second guessing choices or seeking reassurance from other people a lot? Are you double checking things to the point where it slows you down and makes you less efficient? Once you start looking, once you start paying attention, you might be surprised how often these manifestations of intolerance of uncertainty show up in your life. And once you recognize the manifestations of intolerance of uncertainty, the next step is to think about how you can start behaving differently toward uncertainty. Instead of trying to eliminate it, how can you learn to tolerate it? So, for example, could you set a time limit for researching a decision and then commit to making a choice at the end of that time limit, even if it doesn't feel perfect? Could you send that email without reading it 5 times first? These types of small changes may feel uncomfortable at first, but over time, they help build your confidence and reduce the power that intolerance of uncertainty has in your life. And in future videos, we'll talk about more specific strategies for improving and building your tolerance for uncertainty. And once I've posted those videos, you'll be able to find them here. So that's all for today's video. As always, thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one.